Hi guys, this is Joseph from Jouleconcepts. How are we doing today? Alright, so today we are going to go into another software called Unreal Engine. It's actually a game development application, but we are going to be looking at creating a level design, and this in this case will be a cave design. But it's going to be a time-lapse tutorial. It's going to be in parts, but this part is going to be time-lapsed. But I will just quickly talk through my process. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. So what I'm basically doing here, this is just opening the scene. All right. And I'm looking at the scene. I'm going to be changing my layout, and the reason why I'm changing the layout is because it's easier for me to search for actors and other things. So that's what I did there. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is, because I want to start my own world, I'm going to be creating a new folder in order for me to organize myself. I see that I'm naming that my level Joe. All right, so I'm going to head into the folder and create my own level by right clicking, and you say level, and I'm just going to name that. And one thing to note about naming convention in Unreal Engine is it doesn't accept spaces. So it's either you put them together, or you use underscore to connote words of two words stuff. So, and once I have created that level, I'm still being shown what I have by default. So for me to open the level, just double click on the created level, and then I'm going to have a blank scene. And the reason why I'm having a blank scene is because I really do not have anything in the scene. It's more like I've created a world that is black. So I need to start adding my lights into the environment. So for me to do that, I'm also showing other ways you can create levels. So if you don't want to right click, you can go to the file menu, and that's what I just showed. And you can see the different ways of creating a level. So for me to put in this, I'll just go to my environment light mister. You can see that in the windows. And by clicking it, you're going to see all of these buttons. I just basically clicking each of these buttons in order for me to be able to create my world setup, like all the lighting systems. So just going to have a mix of all of the environmental lights that makes up the environment. And you see I have all of this. So scrolling down, I enabled one more button here, which is volumetric fog. And after doing that, the next thing will now be for me to start setting up other things. So I'm just saving my file every time, because every time you create stuff, you'll be seeing asterisks that shows that they are not saved. So I'm just hitting Control S. So the next thing in my outliner, I'm organizing stuff by creating folders, and I'm putting elements in the folders in order for me to be able to easily keep track of actors I'm creating and all of that. So after I have this scene set up, the next thing I will be doing will be my landscape design. All right, now in the landscape design, just switching from selection mode to landscape, and I'm going to have this wireframe of a landscape that as of now is not created. It's just giving me a preview of how the landscape is going to be. So what I'm doing is moving up the sky in order for me to visualize this landscape from like a bird eye view. And on the left hand side, you see the menu, like the settings for me to get my landscape before creating it. So I'm basically setting my resolutions and on also the number of compositions I'm going to be having in my landscape. And then I can also say that once I'm done creating, choosing all of the settings for the resolution and the number of compositions that I want, I'm going to click on the create button, that blue create button, which will now in turn create the landscape for me. So basically I'm just looking at the right settings for me to be able to work fine. So you can see that I'm also changing that landscape. So now I've clicked on the create button, and now it has created the landscape elements for me. So basically when I have the landscape created, what I will want to do next is I want to start sculpting. It takes me to the sculpt tab. You can see from the top here. So the manage allows me to create the landscape, and sculpting allow me to sculpt. So I'm just mousing over my landscape in order to deform and create the mountains and the hills and all of that. So just basically left clicking and dragging, and you can see where I'm having this groove. So basically I'm just holding down shift and I'm dragging. So when you hold down shift, it goes into the geometry, and when you don't hold down anything and you just paint, it's going to add geometry on top of the mesh. So also notice my brush size I was changing, and I had to show the key. These are the bracket keys. The square bracket keys allows me to increase and reduce the size of my brush. That's what I'm trying to explain right there. So the left one allows me to reduce or increase, and so thereabouts. So you just work with that. And then I also use the erase tool to erase that. Then you also have your smooth tool that allows you to smoothen your mesh or the landscape. Then you have your flatten tool, which flattens the landscape at the level you are painting on. So you notice that top where I painted the flattens at that point. Then you now have your ramp tool. So the way this works is you click and drag, and once you are done, you press enter to accept that to create that ramp for you. You can see you now have this platform to move around. So I can create more ramps and just by pressing enter and whatnot. So that is what I'm trying to show here. Okay, so there are a lot of settings here, but I'm going to be showing more tutorials to really explain the landscape too. But for this purpose, we are doing other things. We just want to get to the project. So I'm creating new folders to put my landscape actor into. Remember, I'm going to be organizing. So why I'm naming it 01 is maybe later I want to change. So now the next thing is getting reference, because now once I'm done setting up my scene, I want to get reference. So the best place is going to Google. So to go to Google, so I'm just searching cave, and I'm having a lot of cave examples. You have different places where you can search, but this is just the most popular place where everybody search. So I'm here looking for references that I can use to get my own design in order to inform my own cave design. So I'm just scouting around and looking for references to use. So I'm just downloading them from Google. And then there is another application I use called PureRef. It's a free application. If you just go to pureref.com, you will see it allows you to bring all of your reference images, and then you can just put them in that place, and then you can have all your reference on top of your application. You don't have to minimize and maximize all the time. It will just always be on top, and then while you're working. And it also is a good practice if you also have a second monitor, so you could just put that reference in another monitor. And what I'm trying to do now is to arrange all of the references. Notice I just moved them. So if you go to the image arrange, you are going to see it optimizes that images. And I was also trying to increase some of the image. I noticed they were too small even after optimizing, so trying to increase everything so that they kind of are of the same size, even not the same but close, so that by the time I optimize again, I will have all of them arranged well. I will be able to see. So that's basically what I'm doing. So the next thing is I'm also going to be moving. You notice it goes away, so I want that reference to always show. And I'm also trying to bring in my mannequin in order for me to get the scale. All right, basically when you are trying to do your level design, you need a mannequin that will help you to know the scale of a character in order for you to build your world. All right, so I have that done. So I have my mannequin in my scene, and I will now start doing my grayboxing with the reference in order for me to work and get my cave design out. So I'm just trying to move around to see this character to the world. So so the next thing will be to also still create new folder again and put my references inside a folder, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm creating different folder. So the next stage is to do my blocking, which is also called the grayboxing. So grayboxing is more like a way. So let's just, right now, I'm just want to pin that down so that even if you see, I'm saying it should always be at the top. So even while I'm in my environment, I'm still working. So I'm just putting it there so that I'll easily be able to see while I'm working. So I don't have a second monitor at the recording time. So the grayboxing that I mentioned earlier is just a way for you to get your reference laid out. So when you're using a grayboxing, you're just making use of a very simple primitive shape to get the overall shape of what you're looking at. So this is me trying to use my box to scale, move, rotate in order for me to get the cave. So right now I'm trying to get the first page, the first section of the cave, the opening, and see me rotating, scaling up, and then positioning. So I also duplicated by holding down Alt and dragging on the gizmo. So that allows me to also duplicate. So that's a very fast way of duplicating. Just holding down Alt key and dragging on your gizmo, it would rotate, it would duplicate. So now this is me creating the entry to the cave. All right, it would not really look much as such, but then this is a very efficient way of working so that you don't waste a lot of time in creating stuff when you don't even know how it will look like. So it's best to always graybox, and at this stage you're not really working with too many geometries, so you can at this point do whatever you want to do and correct some things you want to correct. All right, so again, I'm duplicating and moving my shape in order for me to get the cave design. So you can see me duplicating the box. So majorly what I'll be using is just selecting the box by holding down Shift to select multiple box, and then using Alt to drag on my gizmo. So I'm also looking at the reference in order for me to see which kind of feel I'm going to be looking at. So I actually got one where I want to have it rotated on the side. So what I mean by that is I don't want to be able to see from the cave to see the outside part. I want it to be like when you are going into the cave, you are going to be moving around the circle to the point where you don't see the exterior until you walk close to the entry. So that's why you're seeing me rotating and creating that flow of movement. And then I want to get to the middle part or the end of the cave and make it a larger surface area. And that's why you're seeing that I'm trying to rotate this so that I get a larger space as I'm building up my gray box design. So I'll still rotate it so that I can increase that that section right there. So you can see me trying to get the overall shape and just scaling. So at this point, again, like I said, you really do not need the aesthetic is not a key now. It's just the structure of the whole landscape that you're trying to get out. You just want to get the structure out, and once you're able to get the whole structure, then we can now start fleshing out every other thing. So, and that's why I really do not even care about openings and whether it looks nice. As of now, I just want to get the overall shape of the cave. All right, so that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm just rotating, scaling, moving, and you can see now to the next page where I need to cover up my landscape in my cave, because it's meant to be a cave. It should be covered all through. So I'm trying to cover up the top of my cave as we're moving. So I'm just orbiting, looking at the whole shape and duplicating and then rotating, moving, and looking at different angles to see if it's covered or looking nice. So here it's me trying to, so here I was kind of thinking whether to keep the height or to change the height of my cave. So I had to go to the top view in order for me to get the overall shape first before I go into my perspective view to start doing this. So because I noticed that trying to get everything done in perspective was kind of stressful, so I needed to come to the top view to get the whole shape first, and then I can now come here and start rotating and putting them in place. So that's what you see me doing right here. Okay, so you have that, and I also have this created, and it's just trying to block out all of this light so that we don't have the light poking through the geometry. So I'm just trying to see the integrity of this cave to be sure that there's no section that is having light permeate into it. You can see on the side I'm trying to cover up that because I saw that at that point there's a light there. So I'm trying to cover up this so that light will not be able to go past that section. You can see that I've blocked that, and I'm still looking at other places and I'm duplicating. I can also see through from there, so I'm rotating, duplicating, and trying to block out that light opening right there. All right, so we see how messy it looks, and that's the thing with level design. You have to plan to know what you are looking at. So at this point, I'm trying to also look at another idea whereby I just don't want to have the interior of that just dark. I want to have a feeling whereby I can have a light. So this is me trying to put all of those blocks into their folder, and now I'm moving around. I also want to have that opening at the end of that cave so that there will be a light coming in, and then I can have my arrow pedestal or platform. So this is me clicking the play button and trying to test this. You can see I'm moving through the landscape, and this is how the cave will look like. And it's actually a decent one, not a large cave. It's a very simple and small cave, but still something that can still hold something. So this is me changing the scalability to high in order for me to see the interaction of light. And you can see I'm going to the cave, I'm seeing the lights. So I want to set my light right now by hitting Control and L. Once you hold down Control and you tap your L, then you can move your mouse to position your lights. Once you're okay, you let go of your control and it will set. So I'm trying to look at the reference here to see the field that I'm looking for. So I'm going to be having a pedestal there whereby the light will shine on. So at this point, I feel I like that, and I'm also still trying to move around to kind of see the way it feels. All right, so basically that is the section for the blocking. And now the next thing is to get my assets. All right, so the best place to get your assets is your Quixel Bridge or your fab. All right, and they're both the same, but for now, every asset have been migrated from Quixel to fab, except the MetaHuman. So because what I want is not the MetaHuman, just all of the rocks that I'm going to be replacing that. So I'm just searching, but mind you have to be you have to log in order for you to have it saved to your account. So I'm searching the rock by term rocks, and I'm scouting through to see a few of the things that I want. So I'll just pick the quality level, and then I'll add to my project, and then it's adding to the project. And then once it's done adding to the project, you see it in my content browser, and then you see a fab folder, Megascan folder. So I'm also still looking through, and then I've later felt that okay, I need a cliff object, so I'm just searching.